it's funny, I wasn't doing it when I was over on the side either.
Murphy strikes again.
Okay, there we go. All right, I think that would be it. Okay. So, we have about 2 years left. They say 3, maybe even as much as 4. I don't like to think that far out because if the notes start getting too expensive, then we don't want to be buying it, right? Because the very notes we're buying right now were the ones that were expensive in 2004 to 2009. So, anybody ever play tic-tac-toe? All right. What do you know about tic-tac-toe once you start playing it? You can't win, right? It's a tie every time, right? So this is what I call the first level investor. And I'm not making fun of you if you're buying, hold, and fix and flip, but this is you. Tic-tac-toe. You're out there, you're doing it, and I need you out there doing this stuff because with the note, I need some investor out there who's the end buyer. But think of it this way. Tic-tac-toe is the first level of investing, right? So you learn from easy to hard. And more people know what you are doing because everybody's playing tic-tac-toe. That's why there's so much competition with fix and flips and buy and holds. Okay? And you learn to realize that you can't win. If you know how to play tic-tac-toe, it's a tie every time. Right? You guys know that? Please tell me you know that.
Yes.
Okay. It becomes routine and a tie each time. Okay? So, then you move up the ladder to the next level of investing. I'm going to buy apartment buildings. Right? Or I'm going to be a builder. And the growth in your investment moves to the next level. So you learn to pass on the easy because everyone understands tic-tac-toe because it's easy to learn. And then checkers is more complex. It shows growth in knowledge and learning. It takes more time and it has more moves. It's a little bit more difficult. And then there's more opportunity and there's fewer players, right? Because even not 6-year-olds play tic-tac-toe, right? So now you move up. What's the next level? I call it the A game. It's chess, okay? It shows ultimate growth. Chess is the thinking game, is it not? Anybody play chess in here? I played chess one time. I wasn't very good at it, but I loved it. I thought it was challenging because different moves and everything else. Football is like that. That's why I love football so much because the players can have limited moves. Some can move, and everybody has moves like a chessboard. It takes longer, and it has several strategies. It's more complex. There's fewer players in this arena, right? And the knowledge that most people don't have. And that's what it is about the notes. Most people don't want to, it's not that it's hard to understand. It's not that easy, but it's people don't want to spend the time to learn it. They just don't want to understand it. And people what? They avoid fear of the unknown, right? I'm not going to get involved. That's not for me. And I say thank you, okay? Because there's more room for us. And who is the chess champion? Can anybody name a chess champion?
Bobby Fischer.
Bobby Fischer, Boris Maskey.
Deep Blue.
Okay, anybody name a tic-tac-toe champion? Okay, good. And you fall into my routine. So don't overthink things. I think this is one of the biggest mistakes we make as investors and we make when we're going to pick what we're going to do. Do we overthink it? We tend to make things harder than they need to be. Now, I share this one with you because I was the most analytical person you ever wanted to be. I couldn't get started until I had it all figured out. That's the dumbest way to grow up. My early years, I missed out on so much because I was so friggin' analytical. I mean, I had to have everything perfect before I would ever get started. If I went to Disneyland, I had it planned to the minute. Okay? We knew every ride we were going to go on, when we were going to eat, where we were going to eat, because I had to get my dollar value because I grew up poor. So I wasn't going to get a lot of chances to go to Disneyland. But I did find out one thing back in the day. Does anybody remember old Disneyland when they used to have the A, B, C, D ticket?
Yeah.
Well, me and my cousins and our friends, we used to stand at the exit at night, and all the Japanese tourists were never going to come back, and they would just say, will you take our picture? We go, yeah, and then they give us their tickets. So we used to hang at the exit at night, but that's the entrepreneur. Okay, so don't overthink it. Others are doing it. It's always less competition at higher levels. Which level do you want to play at? And this may not be for me. Do you say that? This is not for me. And I always said, who is the tic-tac-toe champion? All right. So, why this investment? Why this investment? It's because the collateral is your safety net, right? Out of, I think, 450, 500 notes we bought in the last year, we only lost 2. And we thought we were going to lose 5. Because we knew that when we bought them, that they were more dangerous types of notes. We don't recommend our investors to buy them. We hold on to most of them. But every now and then an investor buys them in a more challenging position. But we buy within categories, so if you know what you're doing, you can buy very safe. Now, the biggest negative to that is you're very safe, but when are you going to get paid? It's just a timing thing. That's what I try to explain to people. So you're not going to lose your investment, it's just when is it going to start paying? Because notes have an element to them. Some states take longer to foreclose. There's issues, but see, as I'm speaking to you, we're making money on our notes right now. It's clicking, just like an attorney when he talks to you is billing you by the minute. I'm making money on my notes right now. Now, am I going to get that? Not 100% of the time, but it gives me more negotiating leverage when I deal with that borrower. When I first started doing this, now I have people doing it, but they used to tell me, well, I'm not going to pay you. Nanner. You know, and I'd say, don't pay me. But when I call you next year, know that you're going to owe me about $4,000, $6,000, $7,000 more. Huh? Well, do you know that you have all your late fees, accelerated interest, et cetera, and so the $30 you owe me today is going to be $34,552 next year. Oh, I didn't know that, because I'm not going away. So with the market getting stronger, it makes our notes stronger. This year alone, we're getting more settlements, higher settlements, quicker settlements, and payoffs without even negotiating on our behalf. Because we'll get borrowers who call up and say, finally somebody called me, I never heard from the bank, what do I owe you to get current? Well, you owe us $4,400. Okay, I'll pay you. They don't ask for a discount, nothing. It's pretty cool. Those are really exciting. So I'm making money as a speaking to you, long-term results, cash flow. I call it the note monopoly game, guys. What you can do is, if you got a lot of notes, they're paying every month, and then some guy refinances, some guy sells. You know, some guy calls up and wants to do a short sale. It's amazing. And so we'll get those deals all the time. We got one the other day. The guy sent in, he owes us, we're underwater on the note, and this is the second. Okay, so you're actually underwater, which means the first covers almost the fair market value of the property. We've got little or no equity in the thing. He gave us $10,000, and he's paying us $1,000 for 70 months. $1,000 for 70 months. He owes us $150,000. So we're going to settle the note for $80,000. Win-win? Is that something you would take? Now you say, yeah, but what did you pay for? Good question. The total note was $14,000. Okay, but he hasn't paid in 7 years. Doesn't matter to me. Now, it might matter to you, but the time doesn't matter to me because I know I'm going to get paid $70,000 or $80,000 in 70 months. 70 months is how many years? 5 years? 6.5 years, I think it is. That's not bad. I'll take $1,000 a month. You know. Now, do you think I could sell this to somebody else for $30,000? Say, hey, you're going to get $1,000 a month for 60 months, and just give me $30,000 now. You'll double your money and da-da-da. I bet I could get it. Okay, because we do. All right. So why? Recognize. Do you lead or follow? We talked about that. I told you I like to think of myself as Captain Kirk. I like to go where nobody else goes. You know, now I don't do it just blind anymore. I do it because I do have a lot of education and experience behind me. So when I go forward, it is sort of with a calculated thought, but I always do take that risk. And I'll be honest with you, I do. I'm probably a little bit more risk taker than most, but I like to think I do it with calculation. We help the economy. This is what I'm really proud of, and I don't really think of this enough. You know, I really don't emphasize this enough because of what I do. I know I have my staff in my office and what I do, but we hire people all over the country. Real estate agents, painters, rehabbers, skip tracers, the police. You know, we hire police to track down our borrowers because we win cases against them and stuff like that. Costs $50. Yeah.
So you're not hiring painters to paint, you're hiring them to track somebody down?
No, we hire painters to paint. We rehab properties.
You are rehabbing.
We fix them. You know,
Okay.
we hire management companies, all kinds of
Okay.
things. So we're employing a lot of different people, and they make money off of our business.
Okay.
A lot of affiliates and stuff like that. And we help people in a positive way. Now, I didn't talk about this, but my company philosophy is to help people. The whole thing started to try to help people. I was trying to help people avoid short sales. I wanted to save their homes. And the Lord has blessed me by showing me this other opportunity, and we're still saving people's homes. That's our ultimate goal. Now, we don't save everybody's home, but our goal is to do that, okay? So we don't come in. So the reasons why I do this is because I don't like the 4 T's. You already know what those are. That's tenants, trash, termites, and toilets, right? You all gotta deal with those if you're a landlord, right? But I go a little bit further, that's rats, roaches, rubbish, and renters, right? And I've had to deal with every one of those, every one of those. Sometimes I think the renters are worse than the roaches. Creating a life of financial freedom. You can do this, no matter what industry you go into, no matter what investing you do. But I like this one because it's very passive. And it can be as hands-on and passive as you want it to be. Another form of income and the quality of life that you want. Now, I like to put this in here. It doesn't mean that money is the root or big houses or any of that. What's ever important to you, I just try to emphasize that you got to create a strong enough why. If you don't have a why, then there's no reason to live. I mean, there really isn't. Everybody's always asking for the secret to life. And through my travels and my reading, and I read a lot, guys, is that the secret to life is passion. It is. Because you'll enjoy living your life, enjoy waking up every day if you have passion for what you're doing. And that's it. There is no other secret. That's my secret. It's just passion. If you watch America's Got Talent, if you watch any successful person, they'll always use that word passion in their conversation. I have a passion. When I was sleeping in my car, waiting to be discovered, I just have a passion for singing. And I saw this little kid, I think it was last year, about 5 years old, dancer. And they asked him why he dances. He says, I have a passion to dance. 5 years old. I didn't find my passion at 5. So create a strong enough why, because if you create your why, it's strong enough, then you'll never work another day in your life. My why was this. I was sick and tired of holding open houses, of doing marketing materials, holding hands with buyers and sellers. I just said, this sucks. I'm the priest, I'm the brother, the sister, the best man. I'm all these people to these people in real estate. You know, I'm a psychologist, everything else. All this hand-holding. I said, other guys do business around the world. You know, and I said, wouldn't it be great one day to be able to sit on the beach and be able to do business instead of being tied to my area or tied to people? And so I created my strong enough why, and I thought that would be it. And you know what? Way before I ever did it, now I can sit anywhere in the world with my laptop and a cell phone, and I can do business. And that is the most amazing thing to me, because all I did was dream a dream that I didn't even know existed. But it's funny when you start putting your goals on paper and you start believing in yourself. And that's why I have to immerse myself with the good. And that's why I have coaches. And that's why I read. Because it's so easy for me to get off the track. So easy. I think I was telling Ken, we were talking about this. The difference between successful people and unsuccessful people is they know exactly the right things to do. It's just like successful people do them. Okay? You look at athletes that retire from sports, they don't wake up at 5 anymore and start working out. They're overweight. They're lazy because their nature is to be that way. But when they're in the game, they're on their game, right? They're doing what they're supposed to do. But it's so easy to get kicked off, so easy. So I had to create a strong enough why, and I have to reinforce it every day. So I wrote a book called The Note Factor. I share that with you, and I'm going to give everybody a copy if we have enough here. If not, I'll send some to Dan. And the reason I tell you this is because I just want to show you how passionate I am about what I do. So I want to share my story with you. This is the first video. I showed it twice. Here's a check that I got in 2010, which is already 4 years ago. And this was from a note that we bought and we settled. And I just wanted to show it to you. It was a short sale. We were in second position. We bought this note for, I think it was $17,000. I got a check for $61,000. Is that the kind of checks you guys would like to get?
Yeah.
I never saw the house. Never went in the house. Yes?
Where do you get the notes?
From the banks.
You go to the bank and say, give me the notes?
But they don't. I wish they'd give them to me.
That'd be good.
I negotiate for them just like anything else. I negotiate to buy them from the banks.
Can you give us kind of an idea of what you would say your average ROI is on that, on the things that you do?
Yeah, there is no average. Well, let me rephrase that. The difference is, here's what it is. On a what we call a workout or a modification, our expectation is 12% return on your money. Now that's really low, to be honest with you. For example, if you bought a $30,000 note for $10,000, we would try to get you a $120 a month payment. Make sense? Well, that's actually $100 a month. That's $1,200 a year, 12% interest, right? That's for the next 30 years, people. 30 years. Okay? So now keep that in mind, because it's not just a one-time shot. It's not just for that. It's for 20, 30 years sometimes. Now, normally we get much higher returns. Normally we get over 20%, but I don't like to promise those because there's other factors, and you just don't know. It could be an escalating modification. We only put them in for 1 to 3 years, and then it reverts back to the original. If they default, it goes back to the original loan. The other thing is if we do a settlement, which we do about 20% of the time, we get a minimum of a 50% return on your investment. So that means we would have taken that $10,000 investment and settled for a minimum of $15,000. Most of the time we get much higher than that.
And those 40 properties that you were talking about, do you ever own or finance those, creating, I guess, in a sense, your own note?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I don't want to put a gun to my head, own property, own the note.
Right,
I'm taking the note.
right.
If I can only do one thing, I'm owning the note. But lo and behold, nobody's putting a gun in my head yet. So I get to do both. We analyze every deal on a case-by-case basis. We just rehabbed it. And here's a cool story. We bought 20 notes last year, and all first, and REOs and DILs, deed in lieu ofs, all in this one little pool. I got a duplex out of it in Douglasville, Georgia, on Warren Drive, built 1986. I paid, you guys are going to die, I paid $12,000 for this property. I took ownership of it. It's vacant, it needs renovation. I paid $3,000 in taxes, and I paid $30,000 to rehab it. I think my total cost for $45,000. It's worth $110,000. The rents on it are $600 a month, which means $1,200. Now I have to pay taxes and insurance, obviously, if I choose to hold on to it. I could hold this for perpetuity, right? And it's going to give me a positive cash flow. I've already had offers for $85,000. So I have options. Now that's just options. We don't know what we're going to do with it yet. So the longer we hold on to it, we might hold on to it for 3 years, make $7,200 a year. That means that's $20,000. And then sell it for $100,000 in 3 years. Then I make $120,000 on my $40,000 investment. Would you do that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good option. But it's 3,000 miles away. If somebody wants to buy it now for $90,000, do I sell it? I don't know. Depends on your financial situation. Depends on your portfolio. Depends on how you want to play the note monopoly game. I could also sell it and hold the paper on it,
Okay.
which is what we really like to do. This is the beautiful one. This is a course in itself. This is where I take the paper and I sell it to one of my tenants. And what do tenants usually have? One of two things, bad credit or no money. Now they can't have both. You shouldn't be selling to them if they have both. They gotta have one or the other, right? And if they have money, then I send them over here. Fix their credit while they're doing this because I want them to refinance out, maybe. But the secret is I create seller financing. So I can do any kind of terms I want. No money down, low money down. I can do 10 years, 15 years, 30 years, whatever I want. I can raise the price by 10, 20% over fair market value because I'm giving them a great deal, right? So I can do this. But the secret is I know how to hold paper. So I create a 70% first and a 30% second. Why do I do that? If I ever get in a financial crunch, I can now sell the first off at, what do hard money lenders loan against? 65% of fair market value. So if I write a 70% first and a 30% second, I'm only going to lose 5%. But if I sell it a year from now or 6 months from now, I've already made some money. But I'm only going to sell it if I get a financial crunch. Right? So now I get $65,000 on my $70,000, but I only put in $40,000. So I've already just made $25,000 profit, and I got a $30,000 second that cost me how much? How much? Zero. 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 Wouldn't you like to have 100 of those?
Yeah.
Paying me what? $100 a month? $150 a month?
Do you keep your monthly payments high enough to give them incentive to cash out into a regular standard loan so that you can get close to retail value on the house?
Yes, I do everything very fairly.
Okay.
I'm not a predatory lender. I don't try to, if I do it as if somebody was going to look at this in a courtroom on a 30-foot screen and say, why did you do that? We do everything under, even though we don't have to, we do everything under regulatory standards. We're compliant with everything. We make it advantageous for them because I don't ever want them to say, you screwed me,
Right.
okay?
But given the fact that you may want to either hang on to it longer or sell sooner, you're going to decide whether you want to have them pay less or more. What is your preference?
Well, generally what we do is we just set it up for 10 to 15 years, pretty much a straight note, pretty much low interest, and a very viable payment based on what the market's doing at the time. Now, we can change it. It could be a step rate, it could be accelerated, it could be rewritten within 3 years. If they're current, we can do whatever we want, as long as we're fair. Now, what I try to do is get them on a track to be able to refinance it or buy me out at any given time.
Okay.
That's
Makes
the
sense.
goal,
Yeah.
right? Because if they pay me off, they're going to pay me 100%.
Right.
They're not going to ask for a discount.
Yeah.
So that is the ultimate goal. That is called, what I call the acceleration of velocity on your return. Okay, that's what we really look for. And what happens with most people, when I sit here and tell you, you're going to get money on this for 20, 30 years, what's the reality?
They'll sell and move or something.
And
will
how
happen.
often?
5 years?
There you go. Exactly. Most people don't stay in their homes more than 7 years, right? 5 to 7 years, they're refinancing, they're selling. So what's happening with us is some of the notes I've owned for 3, 4, 5 years, all of a sudden they're refinancing. Boom, I'm out of the picture. And they're paying me 100%. So think about it. They owe me $70,000 on the note. I'm getting $200 a month. I get it for 5 years, that's $2,400. 5 years is $12,000. And I only paid maybe 15 for the note, 20 for the note. And I'm almost out of it in 5 years, complete payment for my original investment. And they call me up and they short sell it, and they go, I can't give you 70, I can only give you 50. Do you want to take it? Well, let me think about it, yes. Okay. So 50,000 plus my 20,000 in payments, I've just got 70,000 in 5 years. The time value of money, oh, sweet Jesus. Okay, that is the beauty of the notes. Okay, 70,000 in 5 years. This is happening to us all the time now.
So wouldn't your recommendation for landlords is to quit being a landlord and write a note and finance those people?
One of my best friends who's in this business, who thank God I didn't know he was doing this at the time, started a business 5 years before me, same formula. He's so big now that he doesn't even sell it to the public anymore. They in-house everything, and he owns 60 houses at one time. And he sold them all, and either created seller financing or sold them off, because all he does now is notes. He doesn't want to have REOs. But you do, you just do. We take back properties all the time.
Right.
But it's not a bad thing to take back properties because you need that write-off, you need that part of the business, and it allows us to borrow more money because lenders don't even know how to loan on notes. You know, so if we need lines of credit and stuff like that, we utilize our collateral, which are our REO department. So it's kind of cool. Yes, but there are options. There's a lot of options to that. We already went over that. So we already went over that. Let's see. So here's an example. This was kind of a cool, because this actually was a note that I found out through a friend of mine that I play basketball with. And he said, we were resolving some other things for him and his son. And I found out that I could buy this note, and I did. And he didn't have the money to buy it himself. And my resolution department just said, I'll buy it, but you're going to have to pay me a profit. So I bought his second for $21,000, a $200,000 unpaid balance for $21,000. I gave him terms of interest only for $316 a month for 24 months. So I rewrote the note at $38,000. Now that's a smoking deal, right? I told him $38,000, I'll write this note. I paid $21,000. I wasn't going to try to gouge him. I created $130,000 equity for him by doing this. So do you think he's going to default, paying me my $316 a month? If he had to sell Coke bottles to pay me off, he's going to do it, because if he doesn't, I get this $130,000 equity. Okay, this was in our own city, Redondo Beach. So I was going to make a profit of $24,584 by 21. So in 2 years, I was going to double my money. Not a bad investment, I think, for most people, right? You would take it. Right? And I've got a lot of security, $130,000 equity. I'm waiting for him to stop making a payment. Please default, please default. So that would have been my return. And then, surprise, this is what happened. He bought it in February of I bought it in February of 2012. I received a demand for payment. Anybody knows what that is? It's the funnest thing when you own a note.
The bank says they want the whole amount.
No, the escrow calls you up and says, you're the bank, how much do we owe you? That's for me. They want a demand for payment, so they can pay me off. So I send them a demand. I'm like, but first of all, this is my friend. He knows I have a real estate agent. Why didn't he list his house with me? First thing is I'm mad, right? So I paid me approximately, well, he got an agent that knocked on his door and said, I can put this deal together for you. It was so creative. I knew the agent. I thought, that's the kind of agents I like. This guy's creative. I wouldn't even have thought of that. So but he had the right buyer for it. So in 7 months, he had already paid me $7,000 because he was trying to pay down on principal, right? So I not only got my interest-only payments, but I also got some principal payment. So I had collected $7,000 already, but by the time they paid me off, I got $40,000 in 6 months, or 7 months. Not bad, right? 21,000 investment, I got 40 in 7 months. I didn't have to wait 2 years. Pretty cool. He sold it, put over 120 in his pocket, right? Does he love me? Yeah, he loves me. Was it fair? Are you happy with that kind of return? I could have probably taken more. And that happened on October 5th. So February to October is how long it took, and then my investment just went. So believe in something. I can't stress this enough. You know, I know you're here, and I know you're saying, oh yeah, you know, or Tony, I don't like notes, but I like this, and this is what I do. You gotta believe in something. Don't just be a walk-in generality. Okay, you gotta believe in something. And this is a line that I've heard a lot from my coach lately and other people is, why not me? You know, most of us see the glass as half empty instead of half full. And I'm not, you know, luck just never shines on me. The big deal always evades me. I'm not gonna be a millionaire, or you know, I put an offer in and I never get accepted, and I don't get the right offer, and you know, all this, you know, the woe is me all the time, the sky is falling. But, you know, why not me? Why not me? And I'm not saying try to win the lottery. I'm just saying, if you put your energy and your thoughts and everything else, because I'm already starting to see the results. And I used to be that way. I used to say, it's never going to happen to me. It's never going to happen to me. And I had to persevere and persevere and persevere. And again, if I can do it, and if I have the stamina to do it, you know, but people laughed at me. You know, I was only sleeping 2-3 hours a night for years until the doctor told me I had to stop that or I was going to die. Okay? But I could stay up all night because I love what I did. And I was just thinking about the next deal, the next thing I was doing. You know, most of the deals I made when the market was at its ultimate worst was after 8 o'clock at night. When most agents were sleeping, or home, watching TV, or doing something else. I feel guilty now when I don't work late. But tell my wife. Okay, but I love working. I love learning. I love watching, getting that new idea that says, oh my God, you can do it. Because, you know, one of my mentors said, if you work 2 hours more a day, 1 in the morning and 1 at night, if you work 8 hours and you work 10 hours now, you will work an extra 50 days a year. And if your job is something where you're going to make that, think about the results. If you're an agent and you work and you sell 10 homes in 200 days, which is what most people work, then that means you're going to sell 12 homes, right? Because you're going to sell 12 and a half homes or whatever it happens to be. Why get another job? Do what you're doing and just do it. And at the time I was working 2 hours in the morning, 2 hours at night. That's why I was selling twice as many homes as the average person at the time when nobody else was selling. So it's just you got to be committed and believe in what you're doing. Yeah.
So if you sold your company, what would you do?
Start another company.
Okay.
But I would travel and enjoy my money and be very, what do they call it? I would meet investors who need money. A portion of it would be dedicated, like a musician wants to help young musicians. That's what I would do. Because if the people have the ideas, because I can't do everything I want to do. But I would love to do that and develop new companies and do that, and hopefully somewhat real estate related.
As a private lender?
As an entrepreneur.
Gotcha.
Venture capitalist,
Okay,
JV,
gotcha. Okay.
that type of thing. That's what I would ultimately love to do. And the secret that I really want to do is be a bank. I think that would be the ultimate that I had never really thought about, but in the back of my mind. And the funniest thing is one of my investors, who is Asian, Chinese, I just met with her last week. They've got this fabulous, fabulous investment doing that they're doing, and she invested with me, and they just got a license to open a bank in China, and they're looking for an outlet in the United States. I don't know where it's going. I have no idea, but it just seems like the law of attraction always seems to work that way for me, and so who knows where it's going to go. But does anybody here know how much it costs to start a bank? $250,000.